All right, we're going to go back now to that story of Mark Swidan, the Texas man on death row in China. And joining us now is Jason Poblete, president of the Global Liberty Alliance and an attorney for Mark Swidan. It's his first interview since China rejected Swidan's death sentence appeal 2 weeks ago. Thanks so much, Jason, for joining us. First of all, what can you tell me about Mark's condition in the Chinese prison?
Well, first, Elizabeth, thank you and your team for shining a light on this case. As you know, Mark Swidan is the longest held in captivity American, to my knowledge, and we really need your help and the support of others watching this report. Catherine Swidan out in Texas has been doing this on her own, and we appreciate the help. I think it's not a surprise. We're dealing with the Communist Party of China. This has been the case from the very beginning, I think, because Mark has a blue passport, was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and he was going to be made an example of. What's truly shocking, though, it's what's happening here in our country, that so much has had to be done to put this case at the forefront. And just today, as you know, Elizabeth, there was a White House press briefing, a private press briefing that was recently, it was embargoed up until recently. Not once did they mention China. Not once did they mention Mark. And I don't think our policymakers are getting the message that unless they prioritize this case and stop cherry-picking other cases, we're not going to bring Mark home. Mark is not well. To the credit of Ambassador Burns, who is our ambassador to China, he finally was able to meet with Mark. And I cannot get into the details about this, but it was he's not in a good state. He needs to come home. Catherine in Texas has been doing this on her own, and we need folks to rally behind Mark the way folks have been doing.
You have been talking
the past few days.
Yeah, you do know something, though, about the conditions in which he's being held. He's in a cell where the light never goes off. What else can you tell me about where he's being held and what he's going through?
I mean, he's being held at a facility that, imagine sleeping on the floor with the lights on concrete for years. That does a lot to a person psychologically. It does a lot to the person physically. He is being treated, in my opinion, like a political prisoner. And our State Department, and this is not a Republican or a Democrat issue, this is an American issue, needs to highlight this case, because we rally for the human rights of others in other countries, but the Chinese are not going to take us seriously on those cases if we don't take our own people seriously, and that's what we have to do with Mark. And things have become a little better, but the way Mark has been treated, Ambassador Burns' report is very graphic. It's very difficult to watch, but he's being treated like political prisoners get treated.
His mother, Jason, says that he's been tortured. Is that true?
That is correct. He has been tortured for years. And a lot of what has been done to him under the Geneva Conventions, under many international protocols, and just human decency. You know, China, Senator Cruz and Chairman McCall in the House have been saying over and over again, if China wants to be treated like a civilized nation, treat people the right way, Jason, not the way they're treating Mark. What's happened to Mark is truly outrageous.
Jason, we heard earlier in our show from Brittany Griner, who was sentenced to 9 years for possessing, hash oil, cannabis oil, and a vape. It seemed extreme that she would get a 9-year prison sentence for having some hash oil. Mark has been sentenced to death for, allegedly being in possession of drugs and trafficking in drugs. Why is this sentence a death sentence?
In China, that's just the way their legal system operates, and it's the way that the system, the communist system, has used the star chamber process. It's not a real legal system, but that's the sentence they mete out for these type of crimes. Crimes, by the way, that even the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, that UN body that studies these cases, has said are specious, and they've called for Mark to be released. So those issues, I think, at this juncture, are not legal anymore. At this juncture, what we have is a political issue, and we need our government to demonstrate the same political will they show in other cases, much less serious cases. I mean, the Griner case is a serious case. What they did to her, they should not have done to her. But the speed at which our government moved to act on her case was not the speed that we have seen in other cases.
For Mark
and Mark's case is a case study of what not to do. So we need our government to step up and bring Mark home.
Jason Poblete, thank you so much. We'll be in touch with you, I'm sure. We'll continue to cover the case and keep the pressure on any way we can, and his name out there. Really appreciate being with us tonight.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
All right.
Thank you.